Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater. Today we're going to talk about digital mixers. There are so many great digital mixers on the market, and our goal here will be to help you find the very best one for your needs, applications, and budget. We'll be talking about key considerations as you make your choice, and we'll also give you an overview of a number of the great digital mixers that Sweetwater carries. But before we dive in, please take a second to like this video, drop your comments below, and be sure to subscribe so you stay current on all of Sweetwater's videos. And remember, you can get complete information on the incredible array of digital mixers available from Sweetwater by pointing your browser over to sweetwater.com, or better yet, by reaching out to your Sweetwater sales engineer. Your sales engineer is expert on digital mixers and can be a huge resource for you as you search for the best digital mixer for your needs. Now, there are many things to consider as you start your search for the best digital mixer for you and your needs. Let's look at a few things to think about during your search. What I recommend is sitting down and making a list of your must-have requirements, your nice-to-have options, and those just plain cool features. Then as you look at potential mixers, you can vet them against your list, and this will help you quickly narrow down the options. So of course your first consideration when you look at any mixer is going to be I/O, or inputs and outputs. You certainly need enough places to plug in your mics and instruments so that everybody can be covered, and you need enough outputs as well to feed your front of house system, your monitor systems, in-ears, recorders, external gear, and all those sorts of things. So obviously that's a big consideration. Mic inputs, line inputs, USB connections, Dante network ports, AES-50 is an option on some mixers, and there are more as well. So check out the I/O first of all. Now next, you want to line that I/O up against the channel count, because when you see the specs for digital mixers, often you'll see a channel count that's actually different from the I/O, and that's because they count some of the internal signal paths as well. So make sure there's enough channel count to do all the things that you need to do with your inputs, your outputs, internal effects, tracks you may be playing back, and all those sorts of things. So you want to line both those up and make sure you have sufficient to cover everything you need, and then I recommend adding a couple extra for future use. Now, a big thing with any digital mixer is going to be ease of use. How easy is it to sit down, learn your way around the mixer, figure out the signal routing, get things routed the way you want them? Are there display screens? Are there touch screens? Can you use an app to route things, to control things, to do your mix? Can you connect a computer monitor? These are all sorts of things that you want to look at as you're examining the mixers, because how you use it is going to have a big impact on how well it works for you. Part of that easy use is control options. I touched on a few of them there, but you want to make sure you've got sufficient buttons and knobs and switches and faders. Some mixers have moving faders that are motorized and so on, so that you can instantly grab the parameters and functions that you need. I mentioned multi-touch screens, they're very handy, touch screens, Wi-Fi control using apps. All these things factor into the usability and the user-friendliness of a digital mixer. A factor for future-proofing your mixer, as well as for using it in a variety of different environments, is expandability. You're going to have the direct connections that the mixer supports itself on the back panel, for example. But it can also have networking possibilities, whether it's Dante, AVB, whatever it might be, for hooking up things like remote stage boxes or digital snakes, or dropping into a complete network and operating within all the pieces that are part of that network. So that expandability can be part of that. Many mixers offer cards that plug into the back, and those may give you things like USB recording capability. They may give you different formats for connectivity and so on. So you want to check that out so that your mixer is going to be useful to you as you go into the future and as you work in a variety of different situations. For many users, you want to use your digital mixer for live stage use, for events, for house of worship, whatever it might be. But more and more, we also want to use our digital mixers for DAW recording. You want to be able to do multi-track recording. Some mixers can record right within themselves. They have multi-track recording capability. Others offer USB connectivity for hooking up to a computer so that you can record tracks out to your DAW and then play them back and mix them through your digital mixer after the fact. Now you want to make sure you have enough tracks that you can send to the computer, enough tracks that you can bring back to cover everything that you need. For both stage use as well as for studio use, the monitoring options a digital mixer has are very important. Most digital mixers support multiple mixes, so you can have, for example, a stereo front of house mix, and you can also have a headphone mix, and you can also have separate mixes that you could feed either to stage monitors for musicians or to in-ears or earbuds for those musicians. So you want to make sure you have enough possibilities, enough outputs to feed all those different things that you need for the people who need to hear what's happening from the mixer. Sound quality with any mixer is essential, and it's no different with a digital mixer. Now, we're fortunate today that the state-of-the-art allows for great sounding mixers at all price points, and some of them offer a variety of extended features. They have floating point calculations, for example. Their architecture may be optimized for certain things, and many of them offer onboard processing as well, effects, channel strips, and so on, that let you get the most sound quality out of the mixer and the best sounding mixes. One that many people miss with the digital mixer is whether or not you're using a front of house sound engineer out in the crowd and where that front of house sound engineer is actually located. Some mixers are designed that you get right hands-on with the mixer itself, like this one in front of me here. Others are controlled completely from apps or from tablets, and so that allows the front of house sound engineer to be anywhere in the venue and mixing. But the factor that determines that is where the inputs and outputs are on the mixer. For example, with a mixer like this, we've got built-in inputs and outputs here on the back panel. That means we'll need to route our microphone signals out through the crowd, potentially through a snake, and into this mixer. Now, this mixer has expansion options that allow you to also have remote stage boxes that can make some of that more convenient, and many mixers do offer that option where you can have your connections on stage, but the mixer out in the audience. So you want to take a look at that, and that's part of the form factor of the mixer as well. Is it a tabletop mixer? Is it a rack mixer? Does it provide for remote control? All these things are considerations as you're deciding what mixer is going to work best for your application. And part of that form factor, of course, is weight and size. If you're moving the mixer around, it's surprising how heavy a mixer gets when you're having to carry it by yourself or if you're taking it up and down stairs. So weight can be a consideration, size can be a consideration, putting a mixer into a rack can be convenient in some situations, and so on. And last but certainly not least, price is always a consideration. We all have our budget and we have to work our prices within that. So you'll want to think about that as you're looking at mixers as well. So those are just some of the things to think about as you're starting your search for a digital mixer. There are more as well, and again, I recommend making a list and vetting the mixers you're considering against that list to help make your decision. Now let's take a look at 11 examples of digital mixers that we carry here at Sweetwater. We'll start things off with a very popular digital mixer, the Behringer X32. This digital mixer comes in at a great price and offers all the functionality required for many applications: bands, churches, venues, schools, and many more. And the X32 has become so popular not just because of the features and all the things that it can do, but because a sort of ecosystem has developed with a variety of different X32 models in the family, third-party cases, stage boxes, and more. The X32 offers an impressive complement of I/O, high channel counts, lots of onboard routing and processing options, and easy expandability, as well as easy connectivity to a DAW for recording and playback. And all this is wrapped up into an easy-to-learn and use package that provides excellent sound quality and reliability. In addition to the X32 we have here today, you can get a compact version, a rack mount version, a producer version, and the X32 is also available bundled with digital snakes, cases, and more. Now, since we're talking about the X32, let's also touch on another Behringer digital mixer product, the P16M. The P16M connects into your X32 or other Ultranet-compatible digital device and allows you to quickly and easily create a headphone, monitor, or in-ear monitor mix. You can also interface it with any mixer using the optional P16i 16-channel input module. So this is basically a 16-channel stereo digital mixer for monitoring purposes. It's ideal for bands and houses of worship because everyone can dial in the exact mix that they want, which allows for better performances on stage, and you don't have to use a phone or a device to control the mix. You can do it hands-on right here on the P16M. It has 16 input channels, supports MIDI control, and can feed line out into an in-ear or stage monitor rig, or it can directly drive earbuds or headphones. It's a great option to add into your X32 ecosystem, and again, with that input expander, you can use it with any mixer. Our next digital mixer, the Soundcraft Ui24R, is near and dear to my heart because I use one all the time with my band MG5. It's the centerpiece of our rehearsal and our live stage rig, and I use it in two ways. For smaller gigs where there's no front of house mixing board, it feeds the main speakers for the audience, and it also serves as our monitor mixer. But I've got it set up in a rack with mic splitters, so a second use is if the PA system has a separate mixing console out front, the UI24 does all our in-ear mixing completely independently of the house mix. It gives you 22 analog inputs plus stereo playback from USB, and has main outs, 2 headphone outs, and 8 aux outs, so we can have multiple stereo mixes for the musician's ears. It does multi-track recording on board or to a DAW, has onboard effects, and it has 2 other features I really enjoy. First, it has an HDMI output for connecting a display monitor, and second, it also has 2 USB ports for a keyboard and mouse so you can easily operate it. And as with many other digital mixers, each musician can log in with their device and control their own mix. The difference here is that the control is via a web interface in a standard browser, so you don't have to worry about separate apps. I really enjoy using the Ui24R. It's hard to look at a single rack space piece of gear that's largely a blank panel and wrap your head around the fact that it's a full-featured, very powerful digital mixer. But that's exactly what we've got with the M32C from Midas, this top unit here. The M32C is the complete brain, if you will, of a digital mixer with 40 channels, a 32x32 USB interface for your computer, support for the Behringer P16M that we talked about, 8 effects engines, an expansion slot, remote control via computer or smart device, and of course much more. It really is the brain of an M32 digital mixer just dropped into a single rack space format. Now the key to this is the DL32, which is here on the bottom. It's a digital snake box that connects to the M32C via AAS50. So the connection between the M32C on top and the DL32 on the bottom is a simple thin cable, not a heavy snake like some of us remember hauling around in the old days. But over that thin AAS50 cable from the DL32, you get 32 analog inputs with Midas mic preamps, 16 analog outputs, 2 banks of ADAT optical, USB, 2 stereo AES ports, and even MIDI in and out. Now this approach allows you to drop the DL32 anywhere on stage where you need to plug in all your mics and instruments, and then place the M32C wherever it's convenient, and then you can control the whole thing from your tablet anywhere you want in the venue. I mean, how slick is that? Next up, I believe we have the least expensive digital mixer in our roundup today, the LiveTrak L-8 from Zoom. Despite its compact size, the handy LiveTrak L8 provides 6 mic inputs, 2 line inputs for a total of 8 input channels, plus stereo master out and 3 stereo monitor outs, and each of those has a headphone jack as well. Plus you can route USB audio in and out as well. It has onboard effects, and you can record right to its internal 12-track recorder. All this adds up to make the LiveTrak L8 ideal for many applications, including small live shows, studio recordings, podcasting, live streaming, location recording, field work, and much more. A big bonus is that the LiveTrak L8 can be battery powered, making it truly portable for field use. Let's jump from our least expensive mixer to the top of our list, the Allen & Heath Avantis, and in particular the Avantis D, which bundles the Avantis 64-channel digital mixer and Allen & Heath's exclusive deep plugins. Now the first thing you'll notice with the Avantis mixer are the dual 15.6-inch touchscreens that dominate the front panel. Those screens make it so easy to navigate the Avantis. And the Avantis is easy to set up for your workflow with those screens and with 24 assignable soft keys, so you can configure it exactly how you want for your workflow. You get 64 channels, 42 buses, 24 faders, onboard DSP for effects processing, and more. And speaking of processing, as I mentioned, this version includes the D-Pack, which is a collection of plugins for optimizing your audio, including a dynamic EQ, multiband compressor, and vocal shift, along with, of course, reverb, chorus, delay, and more. Now, there are connections here on the back panel for I/O expanders, stage snake boxes, networked equipment, and much more. Now, this is a digital mixer for those who want to step up into the very powerful and versatile world of higher-end digital mixers. It's suitable for mixing concerts, large events, for house of worship install, for venue install, and more. In many cases, the term digital mixer does an injustice for all that, well, a digital mixer can do. A great example is the TASCAM Model 12. The Model 12 is a great-looking mixer with some secrets hiding behind its front panel. You get 10 inputs arranged into 6 mono channels and 2 stereo channels, plus a stereo 1/8-inch input and even Bluetooth input. There's MIDI, multiple outputs including headphones, and even 2 analog insert points for external gear on the first 2 inputs. It can deliver 12 channels for recording to your DAW or return 10 channels to mix down from your DAW via USB. There are onboard effects and more. But the secret is that the Model 12 is also a powerful self-contained digital multi-track recorder. This means that you can use it as a mixer for your live shows, but also use it as a centerpiece for your recording rig at home, with or without a computer connected. Now, I've done recordings using the Model 12, and I can tell you it's simple, fast, and gives great sound quality. And I was also at an event recently where one was used solely as a mixer, and it was really effective because the sound engineer has instant grab-it-and-go control. Each function has a knob, just like an analog mixer, so you can really be hands-on with the sound. Since we're talking about Tascam, let's take a leap to the other end of the spectrum and check out the Sonicview 24 XP. Now, for serious applications, I think this is a digital mixer you definitely should have on your list. The beauty of it is the amount of visual feedback you get at all times. With 3 7-inch touchscreens, you can display everything you need for your job mixing sound. It offers 32 inputs plus 2 inserts for external gear, 16 outputs for multiple mixes simultaneously or routing to external gear, monitor outs for studio or location use, 32 by 32 connectivity to your computer and DAW, expansion slots, ports, networking, and on and on. The Sonicview 24XP has a complete array of features, functions, and I/O. For optimum sound quality, it has 32-bit conversion, 54-bit floating point internal architecture, and 96 kHz sampling, and that really gives you the state-of-the-art in quality. And with full Dante support, the Sonicview 24XP can jump right into action on a network system. The amazing thing is, though, it's really easy to learn and use. Those 3 beautiful screens can display in 3 different modes each, so you can set it up for exactly how you want to work. PreSonus has been at the forefront of the digital mixer charge for many years. A great example of their family mixers is a convenient StudioLive 32R. Within this 2-rack space enclosure lurks a fully professional 32-channel digital mixer. With 32 of PreSonus's great X-Max mic line preamps, 16 aux outputs, main outs, USB and network ports, and more. There's onboard stereo recording supported, and you can route 40 channels to and from your computer DAW. Using AVB networking, you can send and receive 55 channels. The PreSonus UC Surface app lets you take control from your Mac, PC, or iPad, and the QMix app allows each musician to dial in their own monitor or in-ear mix using an iOS or Android mobile. Now, one thing the StudioLive mixers are rightly renowned for is their processing capability. Every channel has their unique FAT channel, a complete channel strip, and you also get 4 effects buses for overall effects. It comes with PreSonus's Capture and Studio One Artist software, as well as the Studio Magic bundle, so you can start making music with the StudioLive 32R in your studio, and then take it out as a centerpiece of your rig for live shows. With a total of 32 inputs, advanced processing and routing capabilities, and a large 10-inch multi-touch screen, the QSC TouchMix-30 Pro digital mixer delivers powerful mixing capabilities and an efficient, cutting-edge design. It has 24 Class A mic preamps, 3 pairs of stereo inputs, 6 stereo effects processors, even including pitch correction. It has stereo main outs, stereo monitor outs, and 14 additional aux outs, and more. Now you can control multiple mixes from your smart device, so each musician gets their own monitor mix. There's even built-in room tuning and anti-feedback features, and 2 real-time analyzers for diagnosing sonic problems in a venue or show. There are multiple USB ports, so you can connect your computer and DAW, or you can plug in a thumb drive or hard drive and record directly on the unit itself. Setup and operation is simple, and it's a huge bonus to have front-end gain control for instant access, as well as that gorgeous multi-touch screen for hands-on control. I remember when the Behringer WING was announced, I did one of the very first videos on it, and I remember what struck me was how easy and fast it was to learn and operate, and how much power was on board. And we're talking 16 true stereo onboard DSP processors, 48 stereo or mono channels, support for Midas digital stage boxes, integrated Dante support, and just on, so much more. In fact, when you tally everything up, the WING has 374 total inputs and outputs, actually 400 if you include internal signals. That's pretty crazy. But by using what Behringer calls sources, operating the WING is quite intuitive. It's even set up so 2 people can work on it simultaneously. With Midas preamps and outputs, effects algorithms from TC Electronic, Lexicon, Quantec, and EMT, the sound quality is equally top-notch. Now this is a great step-up mixer, if you will, when you need more control, more I/O, more connectivity, more features, and great sound quality. I'm going to wrap things up today with one more super popular digital mixer from Behringer, the X18. If you're looking for a lightweight, compact, portable, but still very powerful and versatile digital mixer that sounds great, then the X18 could be exactly what you're looking for. Despite its small size, the X18 offers 16 Midas-designed mic inputs, 2 line-ins, main stereo outs, headphone outs, and 6 additional aux outs. You get USB connectivity, 40-bit floating point audio, onboard effects, and even built-in Wi-Fi. Plus, you can connect it to the P16M personal digital mixers we talked about earlier in this video for multiple monitor mixes for all the musicians. The whole thing is controlled by your iPad or Android tablet. I mean, it's just super slick and a great solution for bands and small groups. So there you have it, a wide range of digital mixer options. The mixers we looked at today covered a lot of ground, feature-wise, size-wise, price-wise, and they can cover a ton of applications and needs. But this is just a small sampling of the many digital mixers that are available at Sweetwater. For complete information on the mixers we looked at here today, or any digital mixers Sweetwater carries, head over to sweetwater.com or contact your Sweetwater sales engineer. They'll be happy to serve as a resource as you seek out your perfect digital mixer. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater.